Good afternoon. Welcome to Cool Springs. Today is Wednesday, September the 24th, 2025, and this is our series, God Conversations. Because our church is located in the South, and also we're kind of in a rural area. We're on the outskirts of the city of Enterprise. There's lots of farms and fields in the area near the church, and right across the street from where our church facility is located, there is a farmer's field that's still an active field. But this past week, 2 deer stands appeared in those fields. And this week there's only one, and it's got a for sale sign on it. So somebody has placed the deer stands up close to the highway for people driving by to see, hey, if you're in need or wanting a deer stand, you can call the number that's on this for sale sign and see about having the deer stand moved to your property. And so that allows us here at Cool Springs to have a discussion with some of the elementary school age kids that are here, because they can see these things sticking up in the field and they know, hey, those things weren't there just a few weeks ago. What is that? And one of the young people asked that question, what's that over in the field? And when we explained to them that it's a deer stand, that it's a place where people who want to hunt deer will climb up into the deer stand so that they're up off of the ground and so that they can see for a good distance, and if a deer happens to come by within the range of their rifle, that they can shoot the deer to provide food for their family. And of course, some kids are like, okay with the idea of the game has to be killed for food, and others are a little more tender-hearted, don't shoot Bambi, that sort of thing. And you explain to them that, look, sometimes you're not killing just for the sake of killing, but that there are some forms of animals that provide protein and food, and sometimes we need to be able to provide meat for our family. One of the kids, of course, was, well, they don't have to shoot them. They can go to the store, and then that involves explaining to them where that meat in the grocery store originated from. And it may be that some of the kids went home from church and now all of a sudden they don't want to eat Mama's chicken dinner or the roast beef or whatever it was that was served on the dinner table, because now they have an understanding that that meat that's in the grocery store used to be a living, breathing, cute animal, and now it's packaged in the frozen food section coming to a dinner table soon near you. But the deer stand is a thing we can use as an object of conversation talking about God. Virtually anything in life you can use to bring God into the conversation. Deuteronomy, Moses' farewell address, while they're still on the east side of the Jordan River, he's telling the people who are going to cross over that when you cross over that Jordan River, God's still going to be with you. I'm not going with you. My time on earth is coming to an end. Joshua's going to lead you over, but you're going to go in, and you're going to have homes, and you're going to plant crops, and you're going to go about your daily life. And when you go about your daily life, when you get up in the morning as you're going about your day, when you come home in the evening, when you're sitting around the table eating with your children, you're to teach your children about God. So virtually anything that's going on in life and in your community can be used as an object lesson to teach some things about God. The deer stand is something that can be used for that purpose. We're explaining to the kids in our church community that yes, there are people who purchase the deer stands at certain times of the year. They're allowed to go hunting. They have to get a license to hunt, or there's only a certain amount of animals that they can kill. They can't just keep killing and killing and killing. There's only a certain limit. And that sometimes they're allowed to shoot one kind of animal but not another to provide food. And that it takes hours of time sitting out there. And they have to be very patient. And that they have to be very still and quiet. Why are they up high in the deer stand? So the animal can't smell them. when they're up in the deer stand, there's nowhere for them to go to the bathroom. They could take something up there to eat or drink, but they've got to stay in the stand and they've got to be still and quiet, and they have to wait and they have to make sure that they are aiming at the right target. They can't just see something moving in the bushes because it might be a person or it might be an animal that they're not allowed to kill. But that they can also use that opportunity when they're just sitting out there, being still and quiet, to spend some time thinking about the things of God. Sometimes God wants us to get into a quiet place. A deer stand is a small space, only big enough for maybe just a couple of people at a time to be there. It's a quiet place, it's an isolated place, and sometimes being in a quiet, isolated place can give you time to be alone with God. If somebody wanted to, I suppose they could buy that deer stand that's for sale across the street and put it up in their backyard, not intending to use it as a deer stand to hunt animals, but maybe as a tree house for the kids to play in, or a place where they can just go and be away from all the electronics and the distractions of the world, and just sit in a place that's sheltered and have a quiet place to meditate on the things of God. The deer stand, yes, it can be used by a hunter. And hopefully, if the person is hunting, they're not doing it just for sport, for just the sake of showing some trophy animal head to hang on the wall, but they actually have the purpose of, I can use this weapon to provide some much needed meat to feed my family, so that they're doing it for the right purpose, because you can do things for the right reason, or there are things you can do that are okay to do, but if you're doing it for the wrong reason, it's not a good thing to do. Or maybe they could repurpose the deer stand to be a temporary playhouse until the child outgrows climbing up into the repurposed stand for a playhouse. We can talk about why it's important for families, particularly the moms and dads, to provide for their families, whether they're providing food, or they're providing clothing, or they're providing for shoes and medical needs and school supplies, all the different things that have to be provided, and that we should be grateful as children that God provided us with families who will take care of our needs, but also that people need to know to follow rules, and only, if they're going to be hunting, only hunt in the right season, and follow all the laws about what kind of animal can be hunted, how they can be killed, and when hunting season is over with, saying, okay, season's over with, I'm not going to do that until the next time that's right. We can learn a lot and just share some ideas about how to live, and how every part of life is something that can be used to point us to God's good purposes for us. Thanks for watching.